Hey guys, this is George from Firehouse Music, and as you can see today I got a tuner on my guitar, and that's a rare occurrence. My guitar is usually in tune. It keeps tuned really well. Don't build this. If you guys want to know how that happened, watch the videos during the neck build-up. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about an alternate tuning. So this tuning, it's called New Standard Tuning, which I thought it was kind of weird. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this tuning Robert Fripp came up with. And then a bunch of people have used it since then, famously. The guy that I know, that not personally, but the guy that I listen to who uses this tuning is Devin Townsend. So I've been messing around with it, and it's super interesting because what it does is it tunes the guitar to C, and then you have a G, then another C, then another G, then another C, and then E. And these are just my standard strings. I didn't change to a new gauge or anything like that. It works fine. I use 9 to 46, and my guitar can hold this tuning just fine. If you pick a little bit harder and you have a heavier attack, like if I were to play with this tuning regularly, I probably would switch to 10 to 52, so if you guys are interested in messing with it for an extended period of time. And then you can still switch back and forth between standard, regular standard and this. What I like about it is that you have, it's a pretty symmetrical tuning, except for that major third up top. You have essentially an alternation of fifths and fourths. Plus, you have a power chord right here. So the whole thing is a power chord. So if I want a major chord, I have a C major chord there. But I can also just have a really big power chord by just putting my middle finger on the first string, third fret, and you have this. So you have all the benefits of drop D or drop C tuning, but it's a lot bigger. It's a bigger sound. So if I put some distortion on, you have this. So it's a really big sound. So that's pretty great. The other thing that's nice about this is that your octaves are lined up. So you know how in regular tuning we play octaves like this. In this tuning, we find our octaves like this. So we are here. So here's your other octave. Your other octave. So your shapes are, notice I'm intentionally avoiding the first string because that shape won't work there. Once we incorporate the first string, things get a little wonky. So you can just ignore it. I mean, I wouldn't do that forever. But when you're first messing with this tuning, I would just ignore the first string. Just play around with the bottom 5, and you're gonna end up with some pretty cool stuff. The other thing that you can do is with the power chord, if you just take remember your octaves are here. So if I just take my ring finger and put it there, now I have a sus2 chord. Very simply, I just did this. I have a sus2 chord, and by the way, that repeats whenever there's another C, right? So I can do that on the second string, and I have another voicing of the sus2 chord. Well, now I'm playing the first, so this is technically an odd 9. But if I leave, or I either put a fifth, meaning I put a 3 frets above my note, I have a fifth, or I just ignore it altogether. Now we're dealing with a sus2 chord, so we have a sus2 right there. So that's pretty easy. That's pretty neat. The other thing that I discovered with this tuning is that I can create and I made some notes for myself, so I wouldn't forget to touch on some of these things. Is that I can make some of the bigger chords as well. So like, let me take a look here at my cheat sheet. So for instance, if I wanted to, I could play a major 7 chord by just adding those 2 notes there. So on fret 4. That's a pretty common voicing for the major 7 in standard tuning. But then I also have these low notes that I can add to it. And I have this really big sound. Once again, I mean, that's what I like about this tuning, is everything sounds so big. And I can add a bar to this, right? So if say I put a bar right here, and then I just grab those same notes with my pinky, and look, now I have a movable major 7 voicing that works really well. Now, if you guys know, the major 7 and the dominant 7 are just 1/2 step apart if you move the 7th, right? So my 7th is going to be right here. Oh, sorry, it's right here. So then I just move that note down and I end up with this. And notice now I have a dominant 7 chord. So that's a G7. I'm just because I'm on the 5th fret, but if I wanted to play an F7, I'm there, you know. Whatever, and all I'm doing is I'm doing this little shape right here. It works just fine. So major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. So very quickly, very easily, you guys can create just about any chord shape that you want. And I have way more, but I think the video will be too long if I explain all the voicings that I've kind of discovered just messing around with this. And I've been messing with this maybe for 2 days, and I've already found all kinds of stuff. So it's a pretty cool tuning to explore. One more thing I want to tell you guys before I just let you go so you can mess with it. The most overwhelming thing when you're playing in a new tuning is how to find the shapes with the scales and things like that. And I'm finding that if we think of this not as an entire position like we normally would in standard tuning, but you look at the pairs of fourths, meaning for now, I'm gonna ignore the 6th string and I'm gonna play the 5th and the 4th. Then the same shapes that I would work in my for my major scale in standard tuning are gonna work here because it's a 4th, just like between the 5th and the 4th in standard tuning. So I can play something like this and I end up with, right? So this would be, so it's G, so it'll be A major. I have that shape there. You guys have seen that in just your regular major scale. And that's going to be available also on this string, right? But we're playing 6 notes, so we're missing 1 note. And the missing note is going to be a half step below. So I can do this, look. And now I have a full scale shape. So I can keep messing with that. Notice that the shape is symmetrical, right? So this becomes, right? Because this is the beginning of the shape. So the major 7th is right here. And now I have the full range of my scale. So I can go, so this is my root right here. Sorry, right there. So we have our, now the first string is an anomaly, so we can either ignore it or find your notes. And there's your 7th and there's your root. And by the way, the first string didn't change. So if you know your notes on the first string, then you know the G sharp is here and the A is right here. So then I just complete the scale. And I end up with the fingering for the major scale. And you can do the same thing with the minor scale. With any of the modes, it's going to work the same way. But just construct your shapes on 2 strings. Get comfortable with that. Find a note. And then realize that you're going to have those 6 notes available in every string pair. That's a 4th. So you're going to have them here and here. And that gives you basically 2 octaves to play with. And then just extend them, right? Because this is going to be half of it. And this is going to be an anomaly. We're going to get maybe 1 or 2 notes on this string. And you end up with full scale fingerings that way. What else? I think, yeah. So I wrote the natural minor scale too, or the harmonic minor scale. It works really well here too, because you can take the same thing, a similar approach. Right? This happens to be C minor, so I'm playing C minor. And once again, I have the same 6 notes right here. Notice the shapes are symmetrical, it works. But now I can also add the major 7th a half step below. So and once again, you have B right here, and you have C right here. So and notice you have a C. Oh, sorry. Actually, here. There. So that would be your minor, right? So this is your minor chord, and that will be the chord that you'll be playing with your harmonic minor scale. It's going to work just fine. So those are just a couple of concepts that I've found in this position. I figure I'd just give you guys something new, something different. I know I tend to just show you guys stuff on standard tuning because that's what we use the most. But and typically it's the stuff that I'm the most comfortable with. I can play that stuff really well. And this is stuff that I'm still exploring. I'm not very good at this tuning at all yet. But it's something that I'm gonna mess with for a while. So I figured I'd just share it with you guys, and maybe it'll inspire you to search and do this sort of stuff, and increase your creativity that way. So give it a shot, see how you like it. Let me know in the comments if you have a problem or anything, or shoot me an email. My email's gonna be there too. And as always, if you guys want lessons, you know where we are. Just come to Firehouse Music, hit me up on Skype, all the good stuff. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And catch you guys next time.